Joining us now to discuss the best and worst tech companies on the list is Glassdoor co-founder and CEO Robert Hohman. Welcome to Bloomberg West.
Thank you.
So first of all, I want to ask you about the sample size. You're talking about 250,000 employees, 65,000 employers. Is that really a big enough sample size to draw these kind of conclusions about companies?
Well, what we said is that basically for someone to be in the top 50 companies, they had to have at least 25 reviews. And the data is not statistically significant, but that is directionally correct. And if you read the written review, there's a certain magic that comes from reading them and seeing the same thing repeated again and again and again. And it's enough to kind of give you, I think, an insight into what's going on at the company. So
let's take a look at some of these written reviews. Google, one employee, a software engineer, saying, everybody who's paying attention knows how great the perks are. It's one of the cushiest jobs in Silicon Valley. Another one says it's hierarchical, lots of levels of management, not a design-focused company. The more features, the better perspective. What's sort of the overall feeling about Google?
Well, yeah, I think Google is an amazing place to work, and if you read the reviews, what you hear from employees is that you do get to work with incredibly smart people, the perks are there, and the work is great. I think people had a tremendous amount of respect for Schmidt when he was CEO. I think people are excited to have Larry Page back, a founder in the seat, driver's seat again. So
Google, Facebook, Apple are actually among the top companies, right? That's not really a surprise, I guess.
No, it's not. You know, what's funny is they're each in the top for slightly different reasons. Facebook's in the top because if you read the reviews on Glassdoor from employees at Facebook, what they'll tell you is that you get to work with amazing people, but you get to work on a product that almost 1 billion people around the world use and that all your friends use. And it's about the closest an engineer is going to get to being famous.
So what are the so-called worst companies then?
Well, there are some companies that are struggling. So Zynga is one, for example, where...
Before you go on, let's read a quote from Zynga. One employee saying, vibrant work environment, game development has its perks and fun, restricted stock units won't hurt. Another saying, once a quarter we'll work a few weekends. The work is dull, the code is a mess, and hard to work with rushed schedules.
Yeah. The common theme at Zynga is that it's one heck of a pressure cooker. People are asked to work really long hours, work incredibly hard. Now, that's true of a lot of Valley companies. The difference with Zynga is that employees don't feel like there's a crystal clear vision of where the company is going. And that's a big difference from when you compare that to a company like Apple, where everyone knew where it's... How
does Zynga compare to some of the other companies that went public this year, like LinkedIn, for example? You know, I assume that a lot of ramping up happens before the IPO. Is that potentially why the environment is so stressful?
No, I don't think so. Again, with Zynga, I think it is potentially a systemic problem where Pincus has not successfully painted a vision and driven it all the way through the organization. I think in the case of LinkedIn, we see a solid company with a strong leader in the form of Jeff Weiner, and they merely are going through the normal growth and bumps that happen when you go public and scale up and grow that much.
Interesting. Well, we'll be watching how all of this potentially plays out with the IPO happening on Friday. Thanks so much, Robert Hohman, CEO of Glassdoor, for joining us on the show.